Well, today I have the all-new 5th generation Subaru Forester. This is based on the new global platform that Subaru is implementing on all of their latest models. And on first glance, you wouldn't really think that it is any different from the car that came before it, and that's largely a good thing to Subaru customers. It has the huge greenhouse, the flat 4 boxer engine, and the symmetrical all-wheel drive that Subaru is famed for. There is plenty to discuss with this 5th generation model, and this one is the mid-level sport trim. So let's go for a drive together, and I'll share everything that I've learned after living with this car for the past week. For the 2019 model year, the Forester drops the 2-litre turbocharged engine and the manual transmission. So that means you have one powertrain configuration for this vehicle. It's the 2.5-litre naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, the boxer engine that Subaru is so well known for. The transmission is a CVT that of course sends power to all 4 wheels. Now this engine produces 182 horsepower and 176 pound-feet of torque with automatic stop-start technology. So it is slightly more powerful than the car it replaces as well. With this transmission, it actually has 7 preset transmission settings. So of course a CVT doesn't have any real gears, but you can watch the tachometer cog down in a way to make it seem like a more conventional automatic. This helps reduce that rubber band effect that CVTs inherently have. It's not the best one I've come across, nowhere near as good as that 1.5-litre Honda Accord that I tested about this time last year. You can change the gears manually with the paddle shifters behind the wheel, and it responds when you ask it to. There's no physical shifting, of course, it's all just software mapping. There are a few ways that you can change the driving setup of this Forester. So you have 2 buttons here, this S hashtag button and the I button. This is your SI drive system, and we'll touch on that a little later. But basically what that changes is your throttle response. And then down here you have a little dial, and this changes your X mode driving environment situations. So you can change it from a deep snow and mud mode here to the left, and then a snow dirt mode on the right. With the combination of the all-wheel drive and all of these electronic safety systems, you have to really try to get this car to step out of line. You have to be a bigger idiot than me, basically. Now with this engine, it's hardly the most refined I've come across in a vehicle. Whenever you put your foot into the gas, you get quite a lot of protest from the engine. There's no exhaust noise that I can hear. It's all just a lot of rattling coming up front. But in the situation when I'm overtaking someone on the highway, I am hoping for more. If Subaru could add a turbocharger to this engine, I don't think I'd be having the same complaints as what I do now. Another 30-40 horsepower I think will take care of that problem. After you get the Forester up to highway speed and the engine noise settles down after you lock down its automatic cruise control, that settles down. But then other noises take over as well. There's a fair bit of noise coming on from the wing mirrors here. I'm getting a lot of grit thrown up into the underbelly of the car. The Subaru definitely needs a fair bit more of sound deadening, I think. When it comes to the handling of the Forester, the boxer engine is sat low, so that helps contribute to a lower center of gravity. Despite having all of this glass and all of this weight above us, there's really not that much body roll in slow or fast corners. I'm very impressed with that. The overall driving comfort and the suspension dampening, I think, is absolutely perfect. And there really isn't much feel coming out of the steering wheel, but it's accurate enough and responds fairly quickly. Now, I'm in the sport trim, and this is kind of the mid-level model, sharing space alongside the touring. Of course, to separate the sport from all the other Foresters, you see it has these orange accents on the inside and outside. It has blacked out wheels and a slightly different setup for the SI drive system here. The 2 buttons on the wheel are for your throttle response, and for the sport trim it does the SI drive a little differently. You only have sport sharp and intelligent throttle modes. For all the other trims you have an in-between sport setting, but for this one you can really tell the difference between sport sharp and intelligent. It is a dramatic difference in between those 2 modes. It doesn't add any more power or any different mechanical components, but it is nice to have a little bit of color in the interior, boost some vibrancy a bit, and all of the materials that you see Although they are majority soft plastics and this cloth, none of it feels cheap. There's a bit of flex in the door cards, but not much else to complain about. I love the texturized plastic that we have, and the cloth is implemented here on the door cards and the seats in a way that it doesn't make it feel like it's an economy-driven vehicle. It actually feels much more premium than you would think cloth could be. And it's interesting to see these little sport tags that are stitched in to the door cards as well and to the seats. Really don't come across that much. In here, it all feels perfectly fine. I've got acres of space. As you can see, plenty of space to move around my legs. As a tool driver, you will be very happy in this car. I would like a little longer of a seat base being a tall guy. It would contribute to some extra leg support. Storage is pretty good. Couple of cup holders right beside me. Door cards have plenty of space to spare too. It is noisy, but I wouldn't go so far to say it's harsh. If you're blasting music with the basic 6-speaker sound system, I think you're able to get past all of that wind noise and road noise that's being transmitted into the cabin. The touchscreen is excellent. It's surrounded by some black plastic, so you're probably going to have to clean that as much as you are the fingerprints that you will put onto the touchscreen. And there's this tiny little extraneous screen far up onto the dash. It gives just a little bit of information regarding oil temperature. You've got a little bit of trip information, but really I think you could do without. With the base model Forester, there are a few nice things available too. So of course we have the standard all-wheel drive, the fixed roof rails. In front of you, you'll have a 6.5-inch touchscreen, and that has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You'll also have heated front seats, and the reversing camera has this little jet washer implemented into it too. In this sport model, we'll find the larger 8-inch touchscreen. Again, it has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. We have the EyeSight safety system, so that's the suite of safety technology that Subaru is implementing on a lot of their vehicles these days. So with these cameras up here above the rear view mirror, what they're doing is keeping you in lane with the lane departure warning and the lane keeping assist. It also aids the pre-collision warning system and the adaptive cruise control. Other things that you'll find in this sport, I have blind spot monitoring, a rear cross traffic alert system, automatic reverse braking, dual zone climate control, LED fog lamps. In the top trim Premier, you'll have leather trimmings, you'll have a heated front seat and a heated rear seats. But perhaps the most interesting thing that Subaru is implementing on that top trim model is a driver distraction monitoring system. So it has a little camera that watches your eyes to see if you're ever drifting away to your phone or maybe you're drowsy. I'd be very interested to see how well that system works. For the rear seats, I'd probably give it a struggle factor of 2, as I've still got a good amount of knee room, even sitting behind myself, plenty of foot room too. You could probably sit 3 people abreast with very minimal complaints. If you're sitting back there, you can look up front, but you couldn't look directly above you out into the beautiful blue skies that we have in town today. It's great to note that with the security cover, you can actually hide that away under the floor. Always appreciate seeing that in vehicles. At the end of the day, Subaru knows its customers, and people that are prospective buyers or owners of the previous generation of Forester know the kind of vehicle that the Forester is. However, I do think this car needs a more powerful engine under its hood. That 2.5 litre flat 4 is good, but it's just not enough. Adding a turbocharger to that, I think, will solve a lot of its power problems. And if you're looking for a more refined, quieter, plusher compact crossover, I know you can find one for the same or similar price. But really, that shouldn't put you off this Subaru. If you live in a part of the world where your winter months are long and harsh, like they are here, the Subaru makes a lot of sense. But at the end of the day, I think that the Subaru Forester is still something that you should consider owning. If you find yourself in an environment where you frequently need to trek on some muddy roads or some deep snow patches, this is an excellent vehicle for people that live in a part of the world where long winter months are something that are regularly expected in their calendar year. So that's been everything from me. Thank you so much for taking the time to watching this video. I hope you can like if you liked it, share it if you think other people will like it too, and if you want to see more videos by me, please hit that subscribe button down below. It really does mean a lot. So that's been everything from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again.